Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. And in this week's local news, a local embezzlement case has police looking for a missing person. And Addison Township residents will vote again. This time will NOTA get the nod of approval from the polls.
Stay tuned. Learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. Siobhan Wesley, a 35-year-old office manager for CamLogic in Oxford, is facing embezzlement and forgery charges for over $250,000. When the owner and bank realized that there were accounting discrepancies, the woman was immediately put on non-paid work release pending an audit. The police investigation confirmed there is solid evidence pointing to Wesley. According to Village Police Chief Mike Niemanowski, an investigation revealed the woman started working for the company in 2010, but it appears the money wasn't taken until 2012 and 2014. The problem is Wesley has disappeared. Her last known address was Independence Woods, Independence Township. If you know the whereabouts of Siobhan Wesley, please call Oxford Village Police at 248-628-2581.
Two young men were cited for possession of drugs after a routine traffic stop. Oakland County deputies pulled the pair over for a defective license plate light that found the car was full of smoke that smelled to the officers like pot. When questioned, the passenger voluntarily pulled marijuana and wrappers from his pocket. In turn, the officer searched the vehicle, finding more marijuana and a grinder commonly used in such a pastime. Citations were issued to both boys, and their parents were called to retrieve them and their truck. Additional charges may be pending.
And there was another retail theft from Myers this week. A young man was observed by store security taking a bottle of vodka from the liquor shelf and walking past cashiers without paying. This young man, as a thief, was having a bad day of crime. A teacher alerted store security that she recognized the boy as a student from Oxford High. Security cameras captured the theft and the young man running from the store. Officers went to the high school the next day and found the student and issued a citation for retail fraud, third degree. The value of the theft, $8.99. Maybe he shouldn't consider a life of crime, huh?
Domestic revenge may be the cause of a reported case of vandalism on Townsend Street this week. Paint was scratched from both sides of a pickup truck registered to a woman who was visiting her boyfriend. The boyfriend told officers the only person he could think of who might do damage like this to his girlfriend's truck was his ex-wife. The incident is still under investigation.
In a separate embezzlement case, officers were sent to a South Lapeer Road location to pick up a woman on embezzlement warrant from the 52nd-3 District Court. She was arrested and taken into custody to await arraignment.
Two young boys walked away from Crossroads this week. Prior to being assigned to the facility, the youths lived in Kent County. As this area may not be familiar to the juveniles, Oxford and Orion Township patrols were dispatched to watch out for the boys, who were last seen heading on 24. Officers were unable to locate the two Kent County youths.
A DNR suggested a trapper be used to catch coyotes allegedly attacking area farm animals. A farm in Oxford area owned by Trent Masterson has so many coyote trails in and out of the property that actual paths have been created. At the farm recently, a prized horse was attacked and killed, and another was frightened to the point where it was injured on a gate while trying to escape the threat of attack. The trapper organization, called the Michigan Trappers and Predator Callers Association, MTPCA, the organization recommended by the Department of Natural Resources, provides free services to folks like the Masterson family who have experienced a serious issue with coyotes.
The North Oakland Transportation Authority held a special meeting at which its members voted 6-0 to place a 2.5 mil property tax proposal on the May 5th ballot in Addison Township. The mill would supply NODA enough funding to resume ridership in Addison Township, which was discontinued in January 2015 after the mill failed in 2 separate elections. According to NODA, if there are enough voters' signatures requesting the issue to be put back on the ballot, that they would ask that it be put back in May. Addison residents Joe and Pat Schnurr did just that, and we talked with them to find out why the third effort to change the community's mind.
This community, the nice thing that I found out about this community is that it's a caring community.
It is.
Very caring. They just have to know that help is needed.
Right.
As a matter of fact, Eleanor is an example. She's told me that the 2 times that she's able to come here now makes all the difference in her life.
Sure.
Because she's trapped, she said. She's trapped.
She is. She's getting up every day.
She has meaning in her life.
Yeah,
She's going to see friends and things like that.
Yeah. Well,
The delivering Meals on Wheels is an education.
Yes.
Because you're delivering it to people who are locked in.
Yeah.
That's why they get these meals. And this township is so spread out
yes.
that people have a house here, they have a house here, they have a house there. They don't have neighbors. You know, there's nobody in the house.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. When you look at that, you say something should be done about this if we can.
While Township Supervisor Bruce Pearson previously said he would not ask for the issue to go back on the ballot, he does support the Schnurr's efforts and confirms that the service is sorely needed in their remote community. I'll tell you what, I'm really proud of the Schnurrs. Makes me a happy girl. Everybody already knows my personal opinion. I just think it's a travesty that those people out there are stuck in their homes. Bill and I went last week and talked to one resident who, for the last 10 years, has had that service. She's 93 years old. The sad thing is, she can see where that bus route ends. She can see the NODA buses coming, but they can't come to her community.
That's pretty rough.
It's very sad. And Bruce explained to me that the portion of the community that does not vote for it have Romeo schools. They go to Romeo schools. They go to the township of Romeo or the village of Romeo for their shopping. So it's sort of understandable, but I also understand that NODA will now provide ridership to those areas as well, Romeo and Washington Township. So maybe they can work something out that we can get riders.
I think under that proposal, I think you're right. They're going to expand to the Romeo area, that kind of thing, and
might
service
help.
those customers out there. I think that will help a whole lot. I think everybody was pretty much shocked in the fact that it was
Twice.
turned down before, and only missed by I think 20 some odd
26
votes.
right?
Yeah. So hopefully this time, you folks, you'll have transportation out there from NODA.
And hats off to Pat and Joe Schnurr. 2 weeks ago we had a terrible snowstorm, and they drove around that community trying to get enough signatures for that petition to go back on the ballot. So I'm telling you, they're working hard out there. How about everybody gather together and get that support that they need, those 26 signatures. But now they may have a problem because NODA helped people get to the polls. Those buses went around and picked people up. But maybe Addison Township could rent a NODA bus for that day and get people to the polls. We'll see what happens, but we're going to keep following it and watch our community access. We've got a story on it. And speaking of 2 weeks ago, I'm really remiss. I'm a grandma again. My son and his daughter, who went to school in Oxford, Cameron and his wife, Cameron Stiles and Sierra Stiles, had their second baby boy.
Well, I was worried about that for a moment, but anyway, that's, we lost the
I'm
mic.
going to have to talk in your mic and talk real loud.
I have to talk real
That's it
loud?
for Oxford News this week. If you'd like to hear more about these stories and others, stop by your local store and pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper, or better yet, catch us right here on Oxford Community Television.
Yeah, unfortunately, Terry has lost her microphones, but coming up next on OCTV, tune in for Oxford Local Sports. Then catch Oxford School News with John Hochins, and after that, join us with Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
That's one way to shut me up. This is Oxford News This Week, where your news is closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching. And remember, I have the microphone.
I'm John Ochins, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcats School Update. It was winter camp time in Oxford schools last week. Over 20 kids from our Wyoming sister schools spent a week attending classes and Lego events at Clear Lake Elementary and Oxford Elementary schools. It was classes in the morning and Lego challenges in the afternoon. Chun Chun Tang is one of our international student facilitators. She tells us more.
Well, this year we have 26 students and 2 teacher chaperones from our sister schools in Weiming, China. These students range from 3rd grade through 6th grade. Every single one of these 26 students is placed with a local Oxford home. So, as you can see, all of the students here, they are paired in groups and they come to school shadowing their host siblings, whether it's a host family sister or a host family brother. So they go to school together during the day, and then when they go home, they live with each other at the same host home.
It wasn't all work, though. Chun Chun tells us where they went over the weekend.
Yes, they went to Double J Resort to do skiing, to do water park. They rode a radio and had a traditional Texas-style dinner.
I asked Chun Chun what amazes them the most.
Well, first of all, they're all very excited to see the snow because they're from southern China where the weather is more like Florida. So this is their first time not only seeing the United States, but seeing snow actually for most of them. So they're mesmerized by the weather, by what we have to offer, and also they enjoy talking to peers of their own age, but who speak an entire different language and come from such a drastically different culture background.
This isn't their last stop in the U.S., though. Where to from here?
Yes, after they leave Oxford, they're going to go up to the East Coast, to D.C. and New York, do some sightseeing as well before they go back to China.
Chun Chun explains how they mixed in with the rest of the kids.
Well, we do have a couple of students who had, difficult time adjusting to the time difference as well as the food. But the majority of the students, they clicked with their host siblings, our Oxford kids, on their very first day, and they really enjoy, experimenting new stuff, whether it's new food or new classes, new game like the Lego challenge they're doing. So I think it depends, on a student-to-student individual basis. But with all the camps we're doing, we're seeing more and more students at a younger and younger age to want to come to the United States and who really enjoy adapting to this entirely new environment.
You made a trip like that in the 3rd grade, didn't you? We're taking a look at Crossroads High School on Schooling Around this week. As you probably know, we regained control of the high school last fall after they decided not to continue the charter school there after only a year. Oxford Schools ran that school for many years prior to that. Among others, we spoke with Oxford Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, Denise Sweet, and the new Crossroads principal, Shelley Chapman. They explained the teacher qualifications needed for that high school.
So all of the teachers are special education endorsed. So they all have to hold a special education endorsement, and then they all are highly qualified in a core content area in order to teach the Michigan Merit Curriculum.
So we have teachers that, we have a teacher that is highly qualified to teach mathematics, and so that teacher teaches all of our math courses. We have one for the social studies and teaches like our history, geography, civics, econ, another one that does all of our English language arts, and a science teacher who teaches biology and environmental science and forensic science. And then we have
GED.
a GED preparation program, because we have, that's a really unique part of our program that is really important for some of our older kids who come that will be, close to 18 years of age, and will have court orders to obtain their GED prior to being able to get out of the court system. It's a requirement of the court. So we have a teacher that teaches a GED preparation class, and he also teaches, highly qualified to teach physical education and health. So we're pretty lucky. We have some.
You can see more on Schooling Around at 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday on our cable channels, and Saturdays at 11 a.m. That's the Oxford School News for this week. Stay tuned for Dave Kenny with Science in the News and Wildcat Sports after that. Thanks for watching. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, Splashdown, the European Space Agency has completed a successful test of its Intermediate Experimental Vehicle, or IXV, a small spaceplane designed to test re-entry technology. Such vehicles could eventually help humans return safely from a deep space mission. The IXV, an unmanned craft about the size of a small car, launched on top of Vega rocket from the Guiana Space Center near Kourou. It reached a height of about 400 kilometers as it flew most of the way around the Earth before re-entering the atmosphere at 7 kilometers per second. It opened its parachutes and landed in the Pacific Ocean about 100 minutes after launch. Spacecraft experience intense heat because of the friction as they re-enter the atmosphere, so they have to resist this heat if they are to land intact. Most re-entry vehicles are capsules like those used in NASA's Apollo missions, which can't control their descent. The space shuttle, which landed like a plane, was an exception, but complications with the heat shield led to the death of 7 astronauts as the Columbia broke up on returning to Earth in 2003. ESA's IXV is a hybrid, shaped like the nose of a space shuttle and with rear flaps instead of wings to maneuver. It's a new type of body, taking the benefit of simplicity of a capsule and the capacity to maneuver of a winged vehicle, said ESA Director General Jean-Jacques Dordain. A ship in the Pacific Ocean recovered the IXV from the water, and ESA scientists are now studying the performance of their craft. The agency has already started work on a new spacecraft called Pride. This would be a robotic spaceplane similar to the U.S.'s classified X-37B, launching on a rocket and landing autonomously on a runway. Pride could service satellites in orbit or take pictures of the Earth. The ability to safely re-enter Earth's atmosphere is crucial for returning samples from asteroids or other solar system bodies. ESA's Rosetta probe, which is currently studying a comet, was originally meant to bring samples back to Earth before the mission was scaled down. Eventually, ESA would like the ability to launch and return astronauts because it currently relies on Russia to put humans into orbit. There is no way Europe can put a man in something heading back to Earth without this technology, IXV program manager Giorgio Tumino said last year. On the medical front, what's in a name? Chronic fatigue syndrome, a condition that debilitates as many as 2.5 million people in the U.S. with exhaustion, should be renamed Systemic Exertion Intolerance Disease, according to the U.S. Institute of Medicine, or the IOM. As well as the name change, the IOM has this week proposed a 5-point checklist for diagnosis. Because the cause of the condition, also known as myalgic encephalomyelitis, or ME, remains unknown, identifying the condition can be difficult. Our goal was to facilitate diagnosis, as Ellen White Clayton of Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee, and chair of the panel that drafted the report. We hope these evidence-based diagnostic criteria provide a new foundation for future research regarding cause and treatment, she says. And over in China, there is an air of contentment about the scene of a responsible job proudly and diligently done. Yet, these women in Guyu, a cluster of villages on the South China coast, are doing some of the world's dirtiest work, recycling electronic waste. Laptops, smartphones, microwaves, and fridges contain a cocktail of valuable elements in their circuits and casings, among them copper, gold, silver, and lead. And it's a bounty enough to keep an estimated 3,000 workshops in Guyot busy extracting the raw materials that can be sold. Much of the e-waste is the product of China's domestic electronic boom, with over 7 million metric tons created in 2012. But shipments from the U.S., Australia, and Europe regularly circumvent an import ban instituted in 2000. The cost to the environment and human health is high. Runoff from acid baths used to strip out metals has entered watercourses, while burning off plastics has fouled the air. Neurotoxin or toxic PCBs have been found in fish, and children in the area have unusually high levels of lead in their blood. Since 2007, a UN initiative called STEP, Solving E-Waste Problem, has coordinated efforts to stem the flow of e-waste by encouraging manufacturers to remove the most harmful chemicals from their products and creating and maintaining more formal recycling streams. Too late, perhaps, for the ladies of Guyot. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back after this.
Oxford Community Television, keeping it local. And welcome back to Oxford News this week. Oxford Sports. The Wildcat Wrestlers won their 5th straight OAA and 9th Street League title in the OAA Red League tournament that took place on February 4th, 4 of which came from the titles won in the Flint Metro League. The Wildcats took on Lake Orion and Romeo in a dual meet on February 11th. Lake Orion will have the results in next week's broadcast. Again, as far as the team overall, Coach McDivitt just hopes to finish the season strong. Well, National Signing Day is often focused just on football. Athletic Director Mike Watson said Oxford had many other athletic departments that contributed to the celebration and signed letters of intent. With 10 more Oxford Wildcats headed to college and to the next level, they put their John Hancocks on pieces of paper on February 4th. It's great to have 10 more athletes, according to Watson. Jessica Murphy will be heading off to Wayne State University basketball. Sherilyn Bannis, Lawrence Technical University basketball. Noah Grove in lacrosse. Noah will be playing at University of Indianapolis. The 10 signers also included Marissa Biggie, KC Caltera, Peyton Colling, Anthony Gunn, Emmanuel Abera, Taylor Lepick, James Rogers, Lauren Spencer, Cheyenne Stresky, and Glacier Wallington. Jumping to the hardwood, the Lady Wildcats continued their winning ways this week after defeating the Dragons down in Lake Orion at 40-22. With the win, the Wildcats go 5-0 in the league, 11-4 overall. They completed their first pass-through in the OAA White Division, undefeated in first place. Oxford was led by Jessica Murphy, 16 points, 5 steals. Sherilyn Bannis contributed 8 points, had 4 assists. The girls battled against Bloomfield Hills on a Tuesday night game. They'll play Avondale on a Friday night. We'll have, again, the results on next week's broadcast. Okay, if you're a fan of bowling, Oxford's got a good team. Royal Oak probably felt very unhappy as the unfriendly hosts on Monday night at the Collier Lanes in the OAA bowling match. The varsity girls won 21.5 to 8.5 in the run. Their record 5-1. Alyssa Hurlbutt placed in the girls' games at 2:15 and 2:24. Hannah Farmer excited the crowd. 8 strikes in a row. 8 strikes in a row at 2:48. Mackenzie Jansen tossed in 2:14 to help out the cause. The varsity boys were tested early, but at 22-8 in the victory run, with their record now going to 9-1. The boys had nice games. Drew Pappas with games of 2:34 and 2:02. Luke DeLong 2:35 and 2:13. Eric Armbruster had a place ranking at 278. Eric also had, get this, 9 strikes in a row for his season high game. The team currently ranked 3rd in the state. Nice bowling also by the junior varsity boys bowling team. Oxford was well shut out. Royal Oak 30-0. Luke Meyer had 200 and 201. David Stasser had 245. Tristan Boyce scored at 237. Will Fallon added 242. Wildcats also dominated the Farmington doubles on Sunday, February 8th at the Country Lanes, finishing 4th in the JV division. Ann Johnson and Katie Petty finished just ahead of them. 3rd, Marissa Smith and Brenna Beltramo. In the girls varsity division, Megan Kessler, Alyssa Hurlbutt battled like champions to take the runner-up spot. Number 3 in the state, not bad at all when you're bowling out there. Once again, catch that if you can sometime. Hey, you can catch all the sports right here on OCTV between 1 and 6. We broadcast them on our TV station on Saturday and Sundays. If you missed any of our broadcasts, check out our website, OCCTV.org. Make sure to hit the Programs tab. You can get any one of our programs, especially any one of our sporting programs, right there at your fingertips. That's Oxford Sports for this week. Oxford News continues on. Have yourself a great week. We'll see you again. Take care of yourselves.
You're watching OCTV.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, Cadillac's high-performance variant of its ATS sports sedan, the ATS-V, will start at $61,460, and the coupe will start at $63,660. The models are now available through dealers and will be available to order online in April. The V-Series has helped Cadillac burnish its performance credentials, a key part of its strategy to directly compete with the more established luxury rivals such as Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Audi. The ATS-V will be the first V-Series launch since the debut of the CTS-V coupe in the mid-2010. The 2016 ATS-V models are powered by twin-turbocharged V6 engines rated at 455 horsepower and 445 pounds-feet of torque. They speed from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.9 seconds and reach a top speed of 189 miles per hour. The engine comes with a 6-speed manual or paddle-shift 8-speed automatic transmission. The models also feature a variety of performance elements equipment, including magnetic ride control, Brembo brakes, and a carbon fiber hood. So get in line. And good news for the local area. General Motors plans to begin building its Chevrolet Bolt, its all-new $30,000 electric car, in October of 2016 at an underused small car plant north of Detroit, two suppliers told Reuters. GM's production target for the Bolt is about 25,000 to 30,000 cars a year, the sources said. The Bolt will be assembled along with a companion model for GM's Opel subsidiary in Europe at the Orion Township plant, the sources said. And in Washington, connectivity technologies have made automobiles vulnerable to hackers who would gain control of vehicle functions or compromise the security of vehicle data, according to a report released February 9th by a leading congressional voice on auto safety. Vehicle systems such as navigation, Bluetooth connectivity, Wi-Fi hotspots, telematic systems such as General Motors OnStar tire pressure monitoring systems, or even a CD loaded with malicious code are avenues that can be exploited to disrupt vehicle functions and data, said the report from U.S. Senator Edward Markey. The report was based on the responses to questions from Markey's office sent in December of 2013 to 20 auto manufacturers about how they approach data security and privacy. The responses, Markey's report said, showed that security measures to prevent hacking of a vehicle system and how automakers stored data collected from onboard vehicle systems varied widely from company to company. The report called for federal agencies to establish security standards, saying the industry's disparate approaches have been, for the most part, insufficient to ensure security and privacy for vehicle consumers. Markey's report called for the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Federal Trade Commission to develop new rules requiring security measures to prevent connected vehicles from being hacked. Explicit disclosure to customers about what data are being collected and how they are being used, and a provision that allows customers to opt out of data collection programs. Meanwhile, industry trade groups say that automakers are working individually and collectively on key security issues. In our next story, Honda Motor Company claimed nearly a third of U.S. News and World Report's 2015 Best Cars for the Money Awards, leading a pack of mostly import winners. Imports made up 18 of the 21 winners this year, leaving 3 awards for domestic brands. Awards have typically been more evenly divided between domestic and import automakers in previous years, and in 2014, 8 winners were domestic and 13 were imports. But this year, Honda won 6 awards with its Honda and Acura brands, taking home 3 awards each. The Honda Fit won in 2 categories, subcompact cars and hatchbacks. The Honda CR-V won compact SUV, while the Acura TLX, RDX, and MDX won upscale, midsize, luxury compact SUV, luxury 3-row midsize SUV, respectively. In recent years, Honda has focused on providing more standard features in its Honda products and sportier performance for Acura models, Jamie Page Deaton, managing editor of U.S. News Best Cars, said in a statement. Toyota followed with 3 winners, the Toyota Highlander Hybrid for hybrid SUV, Toyota Camry Hybrid for hybrid car, and the Lexus RX 350 for luxury 2-row midsize SUV. Last year, Ford won in 4 categories. The Fiesta won subcompact car and hatchback. Chevrolet and Ram were the only domestic brand winners. The Ram 1500 won full-size pickup truck, while the Chevrolet Colorado won in the compact pickup truck category. The Chevrolet Impala was dubbed the best large car. Value is a combination of the vehicle's 5-year total cost of ownership provided by market research from Vincentric and the average price paid for the vehicle at the time the awards are published, calculated by TrueCar. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.
You're watching OCTV.